Hello everyone. This video will be a little different than usual. Today I want to tell you my story and sharing the key moments of my musical journey. I decided to make this video because I wanted to build a more personal connection with those of you who watch my videos, which mostly shows only my hands on a keyboard. You have watched me play, but I've never really shared anything about myself. So today I want to do it. I'd love to read your thoughts in a comment below. In particular, tell me your story and share your own experiences. I generally read every single one. So, my name is Nicola Menel. I'm 45 years old and I live in Belluno, a small city in the north of Italy, surrounded by the mountains, the Dolomites. Music has always been part of my life. My father played drums, which is why I started listening music very early, especially music from the 60s and 70s. I would have loved to play drums too, but it wasn't exactly a practical instrument for a kid living in an apartment. So, at 7, I chose to start studying classical piano at the private music school, and looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I stuck with it for more than 10 years. That period was extremely formative, not just technically, but in a performative way. For me, good technique means having solid and conscious control of timing and sound. And those years gave me exactly that foundation. During that same period, I discovered the music of Bach, the composer I love the most and who never stops inspiring me. Unlike the composer of the classical and the romantic periods that I respect deeply, but I feel less connected to. But even while I was practicing for my lessons, it was clear that my heart also belonged to rock music. So I started trying to figure out and recreate the keyboard parts of my favorite rock songs, still on my Yamaha upright piano, the only instrument I had at the time. It was quite a challenge because in the early 90s we didn't have the today's technology. I had to use a cassette player, rewinding and fast forwarding the tape over and over to try to catch every single note, investing a huge amount of time and mental effort. But I loved every single minute of it, and it made me who I am today. The first full album I transcribed was Made in Japan by Deep Purple, which I played from start to finish on my piano. Technique wasn't really the issue. Classical training had taken care of that. But the real challenge was capturing all of John Lord's organ part with their weight and their character. Thank you, Maestro. Of course, I was well aware that almost all the songs I loved had keyboard parts that were never played on acoustic piano, but rather on Hammond organ, electric pianos, synthesizer, mellotrons, etc. To do them justice, I needed the right tools. So, in 1996, my parents bought me my first keyboard, a Roland D70. D70 is a synthesizer with the 76 keyboard and a full synth engine in it. With that instrument, I started building my first sounds and learning how to sound design works: oscillators, filters, envelopes, VCA, LFOs, effects, and so on. I still clearly remember the night I spent with the keyboard in front of me, slowly unlocking what I could do, then pushing it as far as it would go. Around the same time, I started to play with other young musicians in my first bands and played my first gigs. My goal is always to replicate the original sounds as faithfully as possible. Over time, the process gets faster, but my standards keep rising. When I hit the limits of what the D70 could do, I start saving up for new gear. Once I finished school and started working, I invested everything I earned to expanding my setup: keyboards, accessories, and other instruments. Spoiler, there's a bass guitar. I spent many years transcribing and designing sounds, and those years shaped me enormously. But at a certain point, I felt the need to go deeper, to understand better the music, not just play it. So I decided to take the next step. I quit my job and enrolled in conservatory. I start conservatory at 33, which some might consider late, but it was the best decision I ever made in all my life. In 2020, I completed my academical journey and graduated in jazz music from the Conservatory of Vicenza. Alongside my studies, in 2014, I started teaching at the private music schools, and that turned out to be a genuine turning point. At first, it was just a way to make some extra income, but over the time, it became something much more meaningful. Teaching forces me to understand things at the deeper level, to find the clearest possible way to explain complex concepts, and to truly meet each student where they are. It changed the way I think about the music and about how to share it. Right now, I work for a company that provides music transcription worldwide, and I teach to my own personalized programs. If you're interested in my personalized lesson and courses, feel free to contact me. We'll set up a free video call to get to know each other and figure out if I can genuinely help you on your musical journey. So, that's my story, and I hope you find it interesting. Now, I want to hear yours. Drop in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious about the people watching these videos. That's all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.